Alright guys, here I am. I've got the saw, I've got my chainsaw chaps on, I've got my helmet with the screen and the earmuffs built in. It may look like a lot of PPE, personal protective equipment, but I do feel like it is essential that you wear this equipment, especially if you're not as experienced. If you nick an artery in your leg, you're going to be very susceptible. And it's easy, especially as you start getting tired, to have an accident. So please protect yourselves. And like I said, pay attention to what I'm cutting. I'm going to speed the video up so you don't have to sit through the whole thing, piece by piece. Alright guys, so here I cut up basically what was the top of this tree, and I wanted to touch base. You might have seen me trip one time there. When you got the saw, you want to make sure you're trying to keep your area clear. If you got a big tree that's falling over, you got a lot of branches, I normally cut some of those branches and pull them out of the way first. But if you're new to this, just take your time. Your saw is going to get bound up. Occasionally, no matter how experienced you are, if you're new, it's going to be happening more often. So don't get discouraged. Just try to pay attention to when your saw gets stuck so you can kind of learn better. If you get pinched, you want to pull in line with the bar. You want to make sure you don't bend your bar. This is a professional grade saw, so it's cutting a lot faster than what a lot of beginners might be using. Some things you want to take care. If your tip goes into the wood, it's going to kick up. That's how you get a kick up. So you want to make sure you're not just plunging your tip into stuff, and that you're cutting with your closer to the base of the saw. I think is going to be safer. Obviously we're making sure we're not putting our chain into the dirt. You'll get a better picture of some of this as I move on to the trunk. And if you're unsure about anything, so some good advice I've heard is, just set your saw down, turn it off, take a look at what you're cutting, think, what are kind of my field obstructions, what other hazards, maybe you got other pieces of wood dangling, branches up high, trees that might fall just from being out in the woods. Obviously I don't have some of those hazards here, but take your time, analyze, where are my stresses in this wood, what could fling back and hit me. It's not a rush. That looked like it went pretty quick, which it did. But as you get more experience and you get more comfortable, you'll be able to go faster and faster. I mean, I'm by no means an expert, but I'd say I'm good enough to do a decent job and feel like I'm safe and effective. And I think that's what we could only strive for if we're not professionals, is to be safe and effective. All right. now with that intermission out of the way, I'm gonna get back to guys, we finished that up. This whole project took, I don't know, I'm gonna check the time on the phone real quick. All right, overall we're at 25 minutes. There was some talking, monologue, dialogue, and you know, it wasn't a huge tree. I have a good saw. One very important aspect is having a sharp chain. This chain I sharpened after the last time I used it on a service project. I think I might have used a couple chains on that project. But what you want, this was a pretty recent cut I just made on, you see these are chips, like pretty big wood shavings, and if you're getting any dust in your coming off your chain, that's not good. That's an indication that your chain is dull and you're not going to be cutting very efficiently. You're going to be overheating your equipment. One thing you saw, I cut most of the way through the first go round. And like I was saying, it kind of makes it like an articulated 3D printed object. You know, they make like the 3D printed worms and snakes and stuff where they articulate. And I find it makes it a lot easier to roll it over, especially, you know, once you get all those limbs cut. A log is essentially just a long wheel. So we're able to spin it over. Then once I did that, I did a finishing cut on just a little bit that was left. So I was able to accomplish, I got a couple stragglers. This one was kind of a weird one with a big knot, so I didn't cut that. I'll wait till later, but made pretty short order of it. I didn't get my chain in the dirt. They do make tools for spinning logs that I mentioned before, but you know, this is a project I think anyone can handle. Obviously not going to be as fast with the consumer grade saw, but if you take your time and be safe, use your safety equipment, I think you could be successful, save yourself a lot of money.